Welcome to the game room where I've been having a little bit of a think about something. I just want to share with you a little bit of the reasons why I collect vinyl records in this day and age. I am not someone who is helping the music industry when I collect vinyl records. Sometimes, not often. The reason why I say that is because I don't buy new records. It's not something that I'm really interested in. I don't really agree that playing vinyl record sounds any better than anything else. I, to me, chucking in a CD, that's kind of the optimal way to play music. But I know a lot of people like digital, and people like playing other ways as well. I don't have a setup that you're going to be able to hear the big difference between a vinyl production and something that is CD and something that is digital. In saying that, I don't really care for digital music very much, just because I feel like a lot of times the music that I listen to, it might not necessarily be that digital music can't sound really good, but some of the things that I've listened to on digital sometimes really seem to be really lazily put up onto the digital kind of streams, especially if it's a track from when MP3 was really big. So I'm talking in the early 2000s, the early 2010s. In that era, there are a lot of types of music that's now been put up onto digital. It seems like they've taken MP3 clips that are of quite low quality and slapped them up. That's not the reason why, although it's a pet peeve of mine, that's not the reason why either. I still really enjoy collecting CDs. I really like to put on a CD and have it playing in, especially in my game room, because I don't have a great deal of internet access out here, and I don't like to pay money for subscriptions, even though I spend a bit of money on these secondhand types of ways to collect things. What I do really like about vinyl records, though, is that it is a kind of a passport for me into a world where I'm listening to music that I wouldn't listen to usually. The things that I wouldn't listen to these types of musical pieces on a digital, in a digital format, on a digital app, or on CD. I don't often buy the same stuff that I would on vinyl. I won't buy that on CD as well, just because the crossover doesn't make sense to me. The reason why I collect vinyl is because it's fun to go and hunt them down. So I really like checking out the secondhand stores and finding them. And that is a totally legitimate reason for me, the actual hunt for these things. But also when I go and throw one of these records on, like a Nilsson or like an Elton John, or like something completely different that I have, like this Banjo Man soundtrack, for instance, with Buster Scruggs. Is it Buster? No, Earl Scruggs, sorry. Or like the Irish Rovers, for instance. Just stuff that I have and stuff that I've collected. I found them for super cheap. I found them in places that were really fun to have a look at. And I'm playing this music from this time period that I wouldn't have an interest in otherwise. And that is fun to put on and to find new music in that way. In saying that, a lot of the stuff that I could listen to on things like YouTube, although be it with ads, or pay for a subscription, play it in digital, find it on CDs very easily. A lot of the big stuff, like Elton John's that I mentioned, or other big artists, find them in shops, secondhand stores, for quite cheap on CD. But it's the vinyl that I like, because I like the hunt, and because I like to listen to this stuff that I would not listen to otherwise. That's it for me. And if you have a reason why you listen to vinyl records, that's the right reason for you, then that's perfect. I do find if you are doing this type of collecting, or any other type of collecting, because I collect a bunch of video games, I collect DVDs. If you're doing that to impress people who are coming around, or to be a presence on the internet in some type of way, it's the wrong reason, and you're going to burn out. That's what I believe anyway. It's just going to be something that I think that will be a big regret. It's certainly something when I started collecting video games, for instance, that was kind of like, oh, I see these things on the internet, or other people are collecting these things on the internet, and it looks really cool, and I kind of collect them for that reason to begin with. And luckily, I was able to sell my stuff off for more than I had bought it for, that stuff at the time, because the price went up. This type of stuff, it is hard to sell. It is hard to sell things like vinyl records for me. If you're familiar with it and if you do it all the time, probably easy. But finding the time to do it, finding the right buyer who's going to be happy with the condition of these records that I've found for very cheap, and then being able to find people who you can, or a place where you can sell them in a way that is going to be safe, that you're going to be able to get your money and keep your money, is very tricky. So I don't do it for that reason. I don't do them to sell off, and I make sure that I keep this in a cheap hobby, a cheap way, and that makes me happy, the way that I'm doing things. You don't have to do it my way, but I just thought I'd share a couple of thoughts about why I do it, and maybe it hits maybe it kind of hits a few notes for you about the ways you're collecting as well, and get you to have a little think about it and reflect on it, because that's a bit of fun as well, and it keeps you in check when to make sure you're on the right path and being happy with a collection. Anyway, that's it for me. The Game Room, yeah. Check out my videos and subscribe if you like.